So something we'll face a decent amount this year is the 2-3 zone. And so we'll run what we call overload, which is how we initiate our 2-3 zone offense. And then, once it's initiated, then we'll kind of get into our what I call rotating posts, movements in offense. So just like most 2-3 offenses, you get two wings. I want those wings a little bit high. We've got a point guard with the ball, and then to start, I want our high post and our short corner runner to be on the same side. It doesn't matter which side, they just need to start on the same side. And the short corner runner should be below the defense. And the reason we call this overload is because we want to put 4 offensive players on one half of the court where they only have 3 defensive players and have a mismatch somewhere. So really simple. The first initiation we'll call overload, overload, overload. This point, we'll pass it to the wing. So now this wing has the ball, and as soon as that player passes it to the wing, they're going to cut through to the middle of the paint and then relocate to the corner. Now, we want our high post to kind of set a little bit of a screen. It doesn't really matter, just be in the way so this person has a clear path. But what really matters is our short corner. Once our point gets to the middle of the paint, what the short corner is going to do is going to come and set a screen and kind of seal this outside bottom wing defender so that when this point cuts through, there's a good possibility that they're open for 3. So this is open quite often. So let's say we hit this corner here and we do a good job of sealing. We'll be able to take that corner 3. But let's say we pass it to the corner and the defense adjusts well and shifts over. It'll kind of look like this. This defender will come out and obviously stretch to guard that corner player. This big will kind of move near the block area to be to look after our short corner player. This near side top guard will probably shift to somewhere in here to help there and help on the drive. This weak side will kind of move here. And once we get the ball into that corner, what I want, or once they cut through, I want this opposite wing to fill here. So now we have 4 people on one side and 1 up top. And then this last defender will probably shift to somewhere near the block or maybe just inside the paint. Let's say that they're kind of on the block. So now if you see, we have an overload situation because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 offensive players on this half of the free throw line, and they've got 1, 2, 3 defenders. So someone is bound to be open. So if we can't hit that corner 3, here's what I would like to happen. We can either do one of 2 things. You got to read it. So this player needs to read it. They've got to see what this defender is doing. If this defender kind of rises up a little bit and is worried about the high post, then we'll hit the short corner person. If this defender stays low and is worried about the short corner, then we'll hit the high post that's diving. So let's say option number 1 is this defender stays low and is worried about the short corner. Then in that case, our high post will dive towards the basket. And we should have a lot of open space. As they dive towards the basket, we're looking to hit the big for a layup. Or let's say we hit the big right here from the high post. We hit them, as they're running down the lane. And this defender comes up to pick up the high post. Then the short corner will simply go behind the defense, and that's a little dump off pass for a layup. Now let's say it goes the opposite way. So we just talked about hitting the high post to a dump off on the short corner. Let's say this defender kind of sneaks up and is more worried about the short corner. That's even better. We can even have the short corner extend a little bit wherever they need to get open. So let's say the big is kind of worried about the high post, doesn't want them to dive. So what will happen is we'll make this entry pass here to the short corner. That will force this defender to drop. And then once that defender drops and the short corner has the ball, then the big will dive to the middle, and there's another dump off pass. So we're either looking to initiate by hitting that corner 3, but we're not going to force it, because what I would like to do is either hit the short corner and have the high post dive, or hit the high post and have the short corner duck underneath the defense. So those are going to be our options. But let's say, none of we initiate overload and they cover it really, really well, and we've got to kind of reset our offense and just kind of run a zone offense. So we'll go back to having 2 wings, someone up top with the ball, a high post, and I want, and then we'll have a short corner runner, and then we've got the defense kind of looking like this still. Now, most coaches, when they teach 2-3 offense, they're talking about getting the ball, they're talking about keeping the high post person, going just elbow to elbow, sometimes flashing in the middle, and keeping the short corner, running short corner to short corner behind the defense. And it is important that this person is behind the defense, but we are going to run what's called a rotating post. So what's going to happen is this. Let's say the ball is passed to this wing. Instead of this short corner simply running here and this high post staying where they're at, we're gonna actually have them rotate. So that's why the short corner needs to be opposite of the elbow high post player at all times once we get into our offense. So let's say we make that pass right here. Now the wing has the ball. This is what's going to happen. Our high post is then going to cut to the short corner and make themselves available right there. And our opposite short corner is now going to rise to the near side high post. And this little exchange sometimes throws off the defense a little bit, and gives us a lot of opportunities in the high post area. So that's why we do that rotating. So think of it as kind of a triangle. So if the ball is on one side, the short corner will move to that high post. The high post will move to that short corner. Let's say we swing the ball. We swing it here, and then we swing it to this wing. Now, what's going to happen? Our high post, who is probably there at this point, will then now move to the short corner area, and our short corner area on the opposite will now move to this high post. So again, it's just rotating so that the bigs each have equal opportunities to be in the high post and low post, and that gives the defense something to think about, because if they have one big in the low post at one point in the short corner, and then it switches to the other big from the high post, now they kind of have to guard it differently. So we'll have this rotating post, and we'll talk more about that.